On our morning show today from WRCO, we talk about Dedicate Toward Loyd today, the community of Loyd. We've kind of touched on it before about the man shed, but we're going to learn more about it and what's behind it today. In the studio with us, Roxanne Klubertons-Gerber, Pam Kohlberg, Karen Schaaf, Tim Willis, and Richard Wiedenfeld. We're going to kind of explain why they are here, but Roxanne from ADRC of Eagle Country, Richland County office. I think we've kind of hinted about this man shed thing before, but here we are. It's going to become fruition, right?
It is. So we are really excited. We started having conversations about 3 years ago. Karen Schaaf and I had actually gone to a men's shed in Juneau County, and we thought, wow, this would be really great to bring to Richland County. It really is geared towards older individuals, men over the age of 60. And I mean, we don't discriminate. Younger people can come as well. But it really is about bringing men together to be able to socialize. We also have some presenters there as well, and having like a light lunch. But it really is geared towards improving men's health, men's social connections, and so forth.
What were some things that you observed when you were at this men's shed and you were able to bring the ideas back to Richland County?
When we went, there was a really nice presentation from a local apple orchard that had come, and the men were really engaged. It was just really exciting to see a group of men together socializing. They were very engaged with the speaker. They had a lot of great questions, and they just really were sitting down, breaking bread, and enjoying each other's company. And so it was something really unique that we just hadn't seen before or experienced before. And so we were really excited with the idea of bringing that to Richland County.
Is there something for women in the county that is similar?
Women tend to socialize a little bit more. So I think there's a lot of different church groups and a lot of different groups where women tend to congregate. We see less men coming to things like our meal sites and other events. We see more women doing those things. So we really wanted to gear something towards men.
And is this something that people need to worry about signing up for or anything like that?
We do ask people to register so we have an idea of how many people are going to be there, so that way we know how much food to have available and to make sure that we have the space for everybody.
How is the best way to do that?
So they can call the ADRC at 608-647-4616, and they can just let people know, whoever answers the phone, that they want to sign up for the men's shed.
Okay. And you're planning on doing this each month then?
This will be every month, the second Wednesday of the month, starting in March. So it'll be 11 a.m. March 11th is our kickoff event. We have a very special person coming to be able to present to to the group. You may know him.
Don't build it up too much.
You may know him really well, actually. So Phil Nee, our host today, will be our first presenter. So we will have that presentation and a light lunch and just time to get together and socialize.
I look forward to it. It should be a lot of fun. I love reminiscing, and that's a little bit about what it's about, right?
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. Karen, we'll turn the tables over to you as well. When you had a chance to visit the men's shed, what kind of excited you about it, maybe bringing that back to Richland County?
Yeah. As Roxanne said, it was a pretty phenomenal experience, and I think our entire drive back to Richland Center, we just talked nonstop about how great that was, how great it was to see so many people gathering, people that maybe didn't know each other before they started coming to this group and whatnot, and it was kind of in Juneau County. I couldn't even get back there myself. It was kind of out in the middle of nowhere to me. I'm not that familiar with it. But the day that we went, as Roxanne said, they had somebody from an apple orchard come and talk, and he himself was an elderly gentleman, and it was very emotional to hear him talk and give his presentation, and he felt honored to be able to be there and to share his story. And that was just pretty neat for us to see. And as we're driving again, back to Richland Center, we happened to pass the Loyd Community Center, and we both looked at each other and we're like, that's it. That's a place that maybe we could pursue doing something like this if everything aligned and we were able to do it. So it was just a pretty phenomenal day that day when we'd gone.
In your mind, can you picture some upcoming events and speakers and people that you'd like to have and pursue?
Yeah. Definitely we want to ask the men that are there, what it is that they might want to hear about. Maybe there's some interests that they have, or speakers or people that they know that might be able to come and, share some stories, reminisce about something. But, certainly there's things like, fishing and the Wisconsin River history and, just a variety of different things that we might be able to get someone to come and talk about if if we can find someone to do that. So we just really want to hear from the people that attend, what interests them, and then we'll pursue finding, or maybe they know of someone that can come and speak, or maybe they themselves have something they wish to share with the group. So.
Do you hope to see not only the speaker, but like some health and wellness things and presented at this event?
That certainly could be something that we do. Yeah, if the group really feels, like they want to hear about a certain health topic, diabetes, nutrition, just a variety of different things that they have an interest in, that's what we want to gear it towards the people that attend.
Yeah, I think it's best to disguise, because us as men, we don't like to hear about those kind of things. You got to reel them in and then, maybe hit them while they're there then.
Sure,
right?
Sure. Well, and hopefully that the opportunity to socialize and a good meal will do that.
Right,
and
exactly.
Get people to come in.
What about transportation if somebody's listening and maybe they can't drive out to Loyd?
Yeah, so free transportation is available. It can be signed up for by just contacting the ADRC and then letting them know that you wish to attend, and then giving your information, and a vehicle will come and pick you up.
Oh, that sounds good. You're ready to please whatever.
We
whatever
are,
somebody
yeah.
wants,
We
so.
don't want there to be any hindrances or any obstacles for people to be able to attend. And if transportation's one of those, we want to hear from them.
Pam Kohlberg is here today as well on WRCO Radio on the Morning Show. Pam, you and I talked about this a while back.
Right, and I just noticed you were talking about health and wellness. I thought you were going to be speaking on that.
Oh, I am? Okay,
Yeah.
well,
No,
here's the thing.
You and I have talked about brain health so
Yes.
often. And
Laughter
your
is the
brain
best
health.
medicine, so I
Yeah.
can talk about that, right?
Okay, yeah,
Tell some
there
old
you go.
stories.
Yes, that is good wellness.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is something that Roxanne and Karen told me about, and it does exist in Juneau County, which is part of our ADRC regional Eagle Country. And I just think that this is something that Richland Center has been looking for. Kind of, there's different coffee clutches or whatever, but I think that this one will be really geared. I'm really impressed with Loyd and what they're doing over there at the community center, but this will be a chance to really gather and kind of form your own group. Yeah. So yeah, you and I mentioned this, and everybody that says when you say men's shed, they say, well, where's the women's shed? And I think they're all over. Like there's quilting groups, so you see them.
She Shed, I think, is the proper
I think
title.
the hardest thing was getting men to be in a planning committee, because men don't come join planning committees.
No kidding, yeah.
Yeah, so if anybody wants to be on the planning committee, we'll take that too.
All right. So, but you'll be out, I'm sure, kind of recruiting with some of the groups that you're familiar with too, right?
Yeah, there's a lot going over at the senior center and the community center. And, I'm sure we could recruit at pickleball, that we'd get a few people. But yeah, it's the hardest thing is that I think the people this group is for are not the people you're going to see, at the meal sites or whatever. They're the people that are at home and wondering something to do, but maybe they're not a group kind of person. And so that's our hope here, is to reach out to those folks that are at home looking for something to do now that the weather's nice, and kind of, how do you find your own group, your own set of people? So that's what I'm looking forward to, is getting those people, maybe out of the woodwork that need somewhere, some people to talk to. Because we know that's part of this initiative, is that loneliness and isolation can be a health issue. Speaking of health and wellness, is that when people are lonely, it actually creates stress, affects the brain. And we really want people to be able to socialize for their own, emotional well-being. So.
Yeah, I know you always talk about that when you're here. Is that socialization is so important, and it might be a great start for somebody to get them out to this event.
Yeah,
right?
in fact, I hear that there's doctors that do what's called social prescribing. So they realize that part of that person's older people's need to thrive is to be social, because it exercises the brain, it helps all kinds of lowering stress. And so we now know that human beings are geared to be social. We're hardwired. And so if there's family members out there that can encourage their loved one to come, it's really, that's kind of part of this, is that initiative to realize, kind of from a public health perspective, that people need to be social.
Well, it'll be really cool,
and they
because
need to hear you.
Oh, me? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. It'll be really cool because you're serving some food. It'll be the first time I've eaten there, since school lunch in first grade. So.
I think the food might be a little better.
Well, you never know. Let's bring Tim Willis in, because he is the only other one in the studio that went to school at Loyd. How you doing there, Tim?
I'm good, thank you. Yep.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. You went to first grade there as well?
Went to first grade at the Loyd School. Yep. There was 2-room school at that time, and what I remember was like kidney-shaped tables. And, the tables were only about 2 feet high, and all of us little kids sitting around it. And I had Mrs. Jones as a teacher. And I think you said you had Mrs. Peckham.
Mrs. Peckham. They were both there for a number of years.
Yep.
And our lunch ladies were Mrs. Sweeney and Mrs. Ironmonger.
There you go. That's
They were
right.
both,
I could remember Mrs. Sweeney. Yep.
Yep, from the Loyd area there.
Yep.
So.
Both lived in Loyd there. Yeah.
Right in Loyd, yes. So, you've kept the school going. The school, is really, it's not a school anymore, but the building is alive and well with all kinds of activities. And I'm guessing as a resident, it's grateful for you to see that, right?
Yeah, it's kind of cool. And Richard Wiedenfeld and I are both on the board, the town board. So it starts a little bit politically. And with that political position on the town board, you are also on the Community Foundation board. And so the Community Foundation was established by Fred and Hazel Pauls probably in the early 90s. Fred and Hazel were lifelong residents of Richland County, and Fred was on many boards, and Hazel was a homemaker and a wonderful cook. I hear a lot of stories that way. And they had no idea what to do with their estate as they passed away. They had no children. And as it turns out, they started a foundation, and Gilly Moe was on the board at that time, and also a neighbor and a good friend of Fred and Hazel's. And Gilly took on the role as chair of that particular foundation and ran it for probably 15 years, 10 or 15 years, something like that. And there was a cash investment portfolio, and there was also 220 acres of ground. And so there was things for Gilly to take care of with that. But Gilly did a wonderful job investing, and that investment account today is well into the seven figures, and it's just essentially grown. And out of that, the foundation group has paid for a house.
Yeah,
How many trucks?
several trucks.
Yep, several trucks.
50% payment on the new garage.
Yep. So the new garage, we had a referendum for that, and that was a $600,000 investment, and the taxpayers only had to pay $300,000. The other half is paid for by the monies from that foundation.
Your township is very fortunate.
We
isn't
are
it?
extremely fortunate, and that's I am chair by default of the township. The guy before me left, and I was left in the role of chairman. So, but I've enjoyed that part of it. But there's quite a bit of things that happen with that foundation, and it's interesting. It's fun.
That the building stays busy, quite graduation parties and things all year long, right?
Yeah, I don't know how many rentals. We probably have somewhere between 35 and 40 rentals a year. Usually that, there are some annual reunions, a lot of graduation parties. We actually had one wedding in there.
Really?
Yeah, those folks were at the
They're at the community right today
for the luncheon.
for the luncheon,
Yeah.
our Wednesday meeting. So
Yeah,
that is it's turned out really good. I wish you get a few more people yet, but
how many years ago did we start that?
I think it's been about 5 years ago. I'm not really sure now.
So we started. We had this nice building, and there's been certain people. McNerlands, John and Cheryl, have done a phenomenal job of taking care of that. Cheryl loves to paint. She's got it clean. She's got it neat. It shines when Cheryl has left after that. And John's done a lot of stuff electrically wise and mechanical wise to fix it up and keep it operating. And having that nice building, we thought, let's do something publicly. Let's get the area to come in and have some fun in there and just talk and socialize. And part of it started with as my dad passed away, and my mom is a widow on the farm. And then I started looking up and down the road, and it's like, oh my gosh, there's a ton of widows. 2 or 3 north, 2 or 3 south. And it's like, let's get these people to have a place to socialize. And that's what Richard's been a part of.
Yeah.
That's perfect. You want to swing that microphone over a little bit more, Tim? We'll ask Richard a little bit.
Yeah.
Richard, what about the history? Do you know how long that building was a school? Any idea?
I really don't know how long it was a school to start with. How many years back when it was old? This school was built what? 1970?
70 somewhere,
Somewhere in
Oh.
1970.
late
Yeah.
60s, early 70s.
Late 60s. Because I went to first grade there, so that would have been like 69, 70, somewhere in that area.
Maybe mid 60s.
Mid-
But there was a building before that people went.
Okay.
Was it 1 through 8 at one time, I think? I'm not sure.
Oh boy, I don't remember that part.
No,
That's
I don't
before
know.
my time. Yep.
That might have been way back. Might have been at one time. because there used to be a lot of little schools around 1 through 8.
Since I'm a history guy, though, pick your brain there. Supposedly, John F. Kennedy landed in the yard there in a helicopter. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah, I've heard that in the history of it. So it's pretty interesting that
That happened.
that happened. I didn't know it until somebody was telling me about it. So
We now have pictures of the helicopter.
Do you?
Yeah, yeah. One of our neighbors, Virgil Wood, was, I don't remember if he was working or his dad was working at the cheese factory. That's what it was. And they went back home and got a camera and took pictures of the Kennedy helicopter. So I have those at my house. It's pretty cool.
Wonderful. Yeah,
Virgil.
because he visited the cheese factory that day, I believe,
Yes,
as well.
yeah. And I think he came with his brother, if I'm not mistaken. I think John F. went to Weston, and
Bobby, I think,
Bobby went to Ithaca, if I'm
Ithaca.
not mistaken.
Yeah. A lot of history there. Were you a member of the Loyd 4-H, Tim?
Yeah, we used to beat the Ithaca.
Did you? No, I don't
What
remember.
what was that name?
I don't remember that. Ithaca Happy Hour.
Happy Hour.
happy hour, yeah.
Or were
We
you
used
just
to beat them all the time.
the Loyd 4-Hers, or what was did you have a nickname?
Lloyd Boosters.
Lloyd Boosters, okay.
Lloyd Boosters.
Because the other thing I remember is going up to play Lloyd. I don't know if he did this on a regular basis, but we played right there in the front
Yeah.
yard of the school,
Yeah.
right?
Lost a lot of balls in the,
bet you did.
cattails out there by the road.
Some good memories. And those are some of the things we'll probably talk about during the very first man shed coming up.
There's some history books there about back in the 1800s. So there was a lot of business in the Loyd. There was even a doctor, I guess, what I heard. I believe it was a post office, I think they said, and two sawmills. and-
Roller rink.
Wow.
Was there a roller rink too?
Roller rink and a
Okay.
theater. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dentist. Yeah, did
Yeah,
you-
dentist. Yeah. It was.
Pretty thriving community then
Yeah.
at that
Of course, you
time.
remember back then, you got around with a horse and buggy. You didn't have a car.
That's
You
true.
get back in the 1800s.
Right. But I remember, because I grew up between Ithaca and Sextonville, and I remember my mother saying, he's going to be all the way in Lloyd this year. That seemed like a long ways.
Yeah.
And things were further away, it seemed like back then. So it'll be a great get-together again. The first one is coming up Wednesday, March 11th at 11 a.m., the Men's Shed. What excites you about the prospect of the Men's Shed, Richard? Any thoughts on that?
Well, like our Wednesday meeting is getting together with people, and I like to get more people to come, and it's pretty interesting. I'd like to listen to people talk because they talk about a lot of things. They talk about things in their life, things they're doing, and some will talk about their horses, and pretty interesting. So I grew up on a farm. I can remember a horse when I was just a little kid. Then my dad sold the horses because of the tractor. So that's kind of where that's going. So it's interesting. A lot of people have horses now that didn't have them before.
Fun to reminisce.
So it's really something to.
And Tim, you're just on the borderline of making it into the 60 and over, aren't you, for this event? Or?
Yeah, I'm in now.
Oh, you're in.
Yeah.
You're officially in the club. 60 and over. What excites you about this, Tim? This Men's Shed thing?
I think it's cool to see the use of a building that way. And if you have the facility and it's on Highway 58, it's easy access in, easy access out. I think it's just neat to use the building. And then after that comes all that socialization with friends and neighbors and the stories, the reminiscing. And for some of the people that are maybe a little more housebound, just looking forward to getting out. What am I going to see? What am I going to do? On the way, we had a meeting earlier today, and as I went back up to Lime Ridge, I was thinking in my car, I thought, you know what, I think it'd be fun to do a vintage day. And you kind of mentioned that a little bit, but I was thinking like a vintage car, a vintage tractor, a vintage truck, something like that. Some guys, when you're 60 and over, more guys can afford those things, and more guys have accumulated those things. So now, having just entered that era, I don't know what I'm going to be interested in, but those things today, I can see a lot of the older folks being interested in that.
But just, stories of the farm, and then your business in Lime Ridge since 1986. Think how farming has changed since that time. There are a lot of stories you can tell. Right?
Some of them true.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think that'll be among the subjects as well, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Tractors and trucks and cars and things like that.
Yeah, and I think, as we've met with the group, and I'll take my hat off to these gals from the standpoint of they are extremely organized, they're extremely driven, they want to see this thing happen, and they're keeping us organized. We're men on the men's shed, but we're following their lead, for that matter.
Yeah.
So it's good to have them here, too.
Don't let that get out that women help organize men. I have a husband whose favorite phrase is organization is the last resort of the incompetent. So we have to keep organization on the low end or I get in trouble. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Fun stuff. We'll come back with more in a moment on the morning show. The Richland County Men's Shed coming up at Willow Valley Community Center, debuting in March, which I think will be the timing will be really good. People want to get out and do something here after a cold winter. We'll have more coming up. Welcome back to our morning show on WRCO Radio. We're talking about the Richland County Men's Shed coming up at Willow Valley Community Center in Loyd starting on March 11th. Roxanne Klubertons-Gerber, one of our guests in the studio, and there are some people that are really instrumental as well behind the scenes I think you'd like to thank, right?
There are. So it has really come together because of the efforts of the entire group that we've been working with. And we really just couldn't do what we're doing without the partnerships that we make within the community. The ADRC, that's what we thrive on, is having partnerships because we can't do it all. So for me, working with this group of individuals has been pretty incredible because they are all so dedicated and they want to see this happen. So a couple people that are not with us today, are not in the studio, is Sarah Jones. She does the activities out at the Loyd Community Center, Joyce Fechtel as well, and then Kathy Cooper from the Land and Conservation Office has also been involved with this too. So it really does take everybody coming together to be able to create this and to get, as many views as we can, because, one person's ideas is one person's idea, but if you can bring many people together, you can really have a lot of great ideas and thoughts come out.
Are you looking for more members or volunteers?
Yeah, so we actually, the group is primarily women. We've got our 2 men that have faithfully come to every planning meeting, but we would like to see more input from men. So if there's any men out there that would be interested in joining the group, the planning committee, that would be great. They can reach out to Tim Willis, or they can reach out to myself. They can reach me at the ADRC at 608-647-4616.
And if somebody needs transportation, what's the best way to contact you?
Yeah, so we will have a bus that will take people out to the community center. So we will have that available. People just need to give us a call at the ADRC and talk to our transportation coordinator, Linda, and that's 608-647-4616. We're hoping to have all of our reservations by noon the day before, and there'll be no cost for that transportation too. So we don't want there to be any barriers for people to be able to attend. The nice thing, the Loyd Community Center is very accessible. It's easy in, it's easy out. Their bathrooms are great. It really is just a really nice facility. So we're really excited to be able to have people congregate there, and we know that it'll be an easy place for people to get in and out of.
Yeah, you bring up a good point. It's all one level.
It is. There is not one single step. So it works out really nice.
It does. And is there a chance you could have a sellout?
I suppose there is, because it's not it's not a huge facility, so it is important that people pre-register with us too. We want to make sure that we also have enough food because we are going to offer lunch. So each month we would want to know how many people we're going to have approximately, just so we can make sure that we can serve everybody.
Okay.
I was trying to remember, who's the restaurant from Casanova that we're getting the food from?
Be essentially a grocery store up there with John Saltweedle. So Sarah has been in contact with John Saltweedle.
Yeah, we know John real well, so that'll be good stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Karen, anything you wanted to add about today's topic?
Yeah, well, I just want to welcome everyone, to come. We hope for a good turnout and a sellout, as you said. I think it's just an opportunity for people to come and enjoy a meal, socialize if they want to, as little or as much as they want to, listen to a speaker that will have, you being the first one, and whoever comes after you in subsequent months. But again, I just want to welcome everyone and hope we get a good crowd.
Yeah. Why do you get involved with this? Why does this excite you?
So I actually retired from the ADRC back in 2023. And Roxanne and I had gone to the Juneau County Men's Shed, I think, a year prior to that. And so one of the things I said to her when I retired was that if you do start a men's shed, I want to be a part of that. And I know I'm getting a little emotional here, but it was such a phenomenal day when we were in that Juneau County Men's Shed. That, again, I just felt so strongly and said, if we're ever going to do it, make sure I know about it.
Well, that's awesome. Glad you're involved. And, I know you'd like to see some other topics and things down. You're probably open for suggestions if somebody says, hey, I'd like to see this or learn about this.
Oh,
right?
definitely. I know, the committee here, we've put out some ideas and just kind of started a list of things that, might be worthwhile or that people want to hear about. But yeah, definitely, if someone has an idea or knows of someone that could come and just talk for 30, 45 minutes, we would love to hear about them or give us contact information. We'll reach out. We'll do what we can. But yeah, we just want to know what people out there are interested in or what men that come to the men's shed are interested in.
One of the things we talked about when we were on break was the fact that if you want to go and just keep your peace and sit in the corner, kind of like I did back in school. But if you want to, but it's not like a sharing and caring. You don't have to feel like you got to share all your feelings or anything. Right?
Exactly. It's again as much or as little as a person wants to interact or talk. You're probably going to have a few people that say hello and welcome to you. Again, it's what you want to make of it. However much you want to participate is just fine.
Tim, this sounds like a really exciting program. I know you're looking forward to it, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We were talking about, Pam was asking about roles, what roles anybody wants to play. And I thought, you know what, I'm okay with being right out front and saying hi and welcome and hey, do you want a name tag? Glad you're here. And enjoy your time here and let us know what we can do different and do better.
You'll have to ask off work, though, won't you?
Yeah, my boss is kind of tough that way.
And Richard, what do you hope to see in this series? Some things, some programs you'd like to see in particular?
Our Wednesday meeting's been going pretty good. I'd like to see a few more people come, but maybe this will create more people to come. And I really like listening to people, and I really can't do much of anything else because of my vision is bad. But other than that, I just enjoy people that listen to their stories and that's what it's kind of all about. So,
he really didn't have to twist his arm to get on here. He wanted to be on.
He did a good job.
Well, not a very good speaker.
No, you're doing great. But make new friends and keep the old. Maybe you can make some new friends, right?
Well, yeah, that's what I like. We have made some new friends with this Wednesday meeting, and I'm hoping that we get a lot more people to come for especially this men's shed. What I'm really hoping for. So.
We'll hope so, too. First one, again, is coming up on Wednesday, March 11th. Pam Kohlberg, I know you're organizing some other things in the community. We didn't talk about it on the community calendar, but tell me about the special choir that you've got in the works.
And I just want to put in about groups. I love groups. I love community organization. And what I like is that we brainstormed a whole bunch of resources that could come to the men's shed. And it's like, sure, we can list, donkeys and caves and all this stuff. But what's great is when you get a group of people together, like I get the opportunity to do, is to see how those people develop it. They might decide they just want to sit around and talk about sports all the time. That'd be great. But it's always fun to see how a group kind of grows and becomes its own. So I think that's part of the excitement, is not planning too far ahead, but seeing what comes out of it. So one thing I do know about Richland County is that there's a lot of music. So when my kids were at the high school, they might have played trumpet or whatever, weren't very good singers, but there's just so much music in Richland County. So at a recent conference I went to, I saw a table about Giving Voices Choir. And the idea is that there's a lot of things we know about the brain, but one is that music really livens people up, and it's a way also of connecting. And so one of the thoughts is, let's have choirs that are a little more accessible, right? So you can have a music director, and we need an accompanist, and we need some people to help with the planning committee, but it would become a choir that was, in a sense, dementia-friendly. You wouldn't be able to know from the outside that it was any different. We will do a performance. There's like a 12-week cycle, and they've created kind of this template, this Giving Voices organization, which is a national, maybe even international organization. You can Google it. But this Giving Voices kind of gives a structure that you then fit in, and they make sure that the music is organized in a way that it's easy for people to to remember. And then it's all the pride of working towards a performance where, everybody gets to wear purple and sing together. And so it's people, both with dementia, without dementia, just coming together to support each other, and then the friendships that develop from that. So I love that there was kind of this, I like cookie cutter things, you find the thing that works and then you can recreate it for your community. But when I thought about Richland County, the person I talked to said, oh yeah, I used to come there for music concerts all the time, and she named all the local music teachers, and she's like, yeah, that community has a lot of music. And I was like, we need to get this started. So I know there's a community choir that meets in the summer here, and this wouldn't take away from that, but this would be its own kind of probably daytime. Well, we'd figure out the timing, but it would be its own little session that met with a group of people that then worked towards a performance. But it's really in such a friendly way that it's not, you don't have to be a great singer. If I'm going to be part of it, there will not be great singing. I'll be singing, let everybody else sing. But the idea is that it'll be accessible for people who might have memory issues because of the way it's organized and supported. And then we need volunteers who come and sing with people and are part of that. So we have to remember that the dementia affects all ages of people. It could, there are unfortunately diseases that affect people before 60. So somebody isn't going to be necessarily at the end stage of dementia. They could be at the early stage, just finding out what are they going to do now that they know they have one of these particular diseases, but also how do they get support from the community? Because I really go around and preach that it takes a village. It's not just one caregiver, one family member, but you need a whole village to help that person continue to live in their own home. And so there's, a lot of people with the various diseases that we label dementia that are out living in the community, and they need to know that we're supporting them, and we need to have fun together. So that's going to be the key is coming together, singing, having a lot of fun, and then working sort of casually towards a performance that we then can share with the rest of the community.
I was going to say, so you could have a public performance then.
Yeah, I guess
eventually.
the structure of this Giving Voices is that it goes towards a session where you have you pick a set of songs together, and that you work towards a performance. So it does involve real music director and a real accompanist. And then what comes with it is if I can get enough people to answer the call and I have a whole letter explaining it, and there's videos on YouTube that you can look at. If I get enough people and create a planning or a steering committee, then there's a grant, because there's a rural initiative. This is happening in Minneapolis. This is happening in Green Bay. There's a lot of places that have these Giving Voices choir, but they want to get it out more into the small towns. So there's a grant that would come with this Giving Voices if I can prove that there's enough interest. So I need people to put names on a petition, and so we can apply for that grant and then be able to hire a music director.
Good luck. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I think Tim was in choir. He could maybe sing. Yeah, something like that.
Logan got most of my.
I was going to say, your son Logan. Yeah, he probably could help out.
Are you sure of that?
Thanks, everyone, for coming in. This is going to be a great time coming up on March 11th, and look forward to it. We'll keep plugging it here on the air. Roxanne Klubertons-Gerber joining us, along with Pam Kohlberg, Karen Schaff, Tim Willis, and Richard Wiedenfeld. Don't miss the Man Shed and your opportunity to sign up with ADRC of Richland County. Again, the first one is Wednesday, March 11th at 11.